Quiet by Cain. This book describes introverts and extroverts with focus on introverts. Cain provides an interesting and simplified definition of these two aspects of the personalities. Introverts and extroverts differ by their preference for a certain level of stimulus. Introverts prefer less, extroverts prefer more. This is also proven by an experiment done by Hans Eysenck, which basically took introverts and extroverts and asked them to solve a word game while they wore some headsets where some noises, loud noises, came from time to time. People were allowed in the first scenario to choose their own volume. The introverts selected 55. The extroverts selected 72. The performance was exactly the same in this scenario between introverts and extroverts. In the second scenario, the volume was given. The introverts had a volume of 72, exactly what the extroverts had chosen in scenario 1, and the extroverts 55, exactly the volume that the introverts have selected in first scenario. What resulted in this second scenario was that for both categories, their performance was worse than in the first scenario. Basically, the introverts felt overstimulated, and this led to panic, stress, and a decrease of the performance. On the other side, the extroverts felt understimulated, they got bored, and their performance decreased. Let's also look at leadership. Adam Grant has two interesting experiments described in this book that I would like us to focus on. He had an hypothesis that the performance of a team might depend not only on the type of leader, introvert or extrovert, but also on the type of the team. Team with passive employees or team with active employees which show initiative. In the first experiment, he looked over the performance of teams in a large pizza chain in USA. The conclusion of this was that passive employees with an introvert leader had a performance with 16% less than passive employees with an extrovert leader. On the other side, active employees plus an introvert leader had a performance with 14% more than active employees with an extrovert leader. Let's look also at the second experiment. He chose to have 163 teams of students. Their goal was to fold t-shirts, as many as they could, in 10 minutes, and each team had two actors in the team. These actors were asked to be passive or active. When they were active, they came with a suggestion, with a great folding suggestion that they could explain in 1 minute, but that could have led the team to win. It was a great way of folding the t-shirts. The conclusions of this second experiment were the following. The introvert leader was 20% more likely to accept suggestion than the extrovert leader. When they did accept the suggestion of the active actor, the performance of their team was 24% more than the team of the extrovert leader. When the introvert leader had passive team members, so even the actors were passive, the performance of this team was 22% less than the performance of the extrovert leader with passive team members. What we see in both studies. The conclusion is basically that the introvert leaders have a natural ability to listen to others and to take their suggestion into account. So when introvert leaders have employees active with initiative, with ideas, the performance of the team will grow because these ideas will be applied. On the other hand, the extrovert leader has a natural tendency to want to stand out, to be in the center stage, and this might lead to him or her to not listen so much to team members, not take so many ideas into account, which might result in a decrease of performance and also might make people who are active with initiative go towards a passive role. On the other side, when the team is passive, the introverts leaders have problems inspiring people. But the extrovert leaders succeed in inspiring others. They have a natural ability to inspire people, which results, of course, in better performance. To conclude, the book Quiet by Susan Cain makes us aware of the fact that each categories, extroverts and introverts, have advantages and disadvantages. We tend to admire more the extroverts because they stand out. They are very comfortable to speak to a large group of people. They are very comfortable in a large group of people. There are some exceptions though. We also admire the lonely people that have succeeded, that have a good financial, that have companies, and so on. Susan Cain challenges us to see extroverts and introverts as having both advantages and both disadvantages, and not be so judgmental about introverts, not wanting them to transform to extroverts, to be more comfortable in an environment with a high level of stimulus. Please read the book for more examples and studies. Susan Cain provides a lot of them there. Thank you.